Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Danny Burke and this is the top 10 TV shows that look different around the world. I think that's a great title because it means I don't really have to do much of an introduction for it. It speaks for itself. So you may be asking why I'm still doing an introduction right now. I'm not too sure. Let's get into our number 10, The Office. This show was written by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. The first airing was on British TV back in 2001. It was a huge success and was adapted for production in countries across the world. Now obviously the most famous one is the American version with Steve Carell and co, but it's been remade in other countries too, such as France, where it's called Le Bureau, Stromberg in Germany, La Office in Chile, and Hamizrad in Israel, to name but a few. The characters tend to look quite similar at first glance, but as soon as you watch any other different version, it's clear to see that each country and culture changes the show a lot from the original. Next up at number 9 now, we have The Apprentice, the show where aspiring businessmen and women compete for the chance to become a key apprentice to a big business owner. Started out in America. The boss in that version was a guy called Donald Trump. You may or may not have heard of him. Then came the British version starring Sir Alan Sugar, and before you know it, NBC had sold the rights for the show to be produced in 20 different countries around the world. With each new country came a new boss with a different company and different challenges for the contestants to prove their worth. Moving on to number 8 now, we have Big Brother. When it comes to franchising a TV show, Big Brother has been one of the most successful. The original show was created in the Netherlands, intended to be more of a social experiment kind of thing where contestants were left in a house with the most basics of water, furniture and food, and just cameras watching their every move. It was a phenomenal success. The UK version followed the year after, then the American version came along, and it now has 54 versions in countries around the world. These days it's less of a social experiment, more D-list celebrities fighting, but it's been a successful franchise nonetheless. I don't know why I sound so aggressive. Coming in at number 7 now, we have The Simpsons. For most countries in the world, The Simpsons is either aired in English or simply dubbed over with the local language. One exception to that is Al Shamshun, the Arabic version of The Simpsons that was made because the original references too many things forbidden by the Quran. Duff beer became soda, donuts became Arabic cake, and any scene with Homer eating bacon was simply deleted. Some people say that means it's not even the same show anymore. What do you guys think? Next up at the number 6 spot, we have Masterchef. The original British series started in 1990 and there are now over 50 adaptations. The concept is simple and loosely involves both amateur and professional chefs performing weekly cooking challenges to advance one step closer to winning a lot of money, their own cookbook and a trophy. The American version didn't start until 2010, but it injected new life into the series and spread its appeal globally. Every version is a different look at the cooking, culture and dishes around the world. Moving on to number 5 now, we have How I Met Your Mother. For 9 years it was one of America's biggest TV shows about the trials and tribulations of 6 20-somethings in New York. Well, surprisingly, there's a little known Russian version of the show and it looks terrible, like really bad. They tried to copy the same design and locations as the American version, but something just fell flat. See what you guys think.
Я твой лучший друг. А потом я увидел Катю.
Привет. Хочешь быть моей +1?
Что?
Будешь моей парой?
Что?
Мне кажется, я люблю тебя.
The actual production quality looked a lot lower as well. The whole thing was just Still, if you're a fan of the show and you want to learn Russian, it's definitely something you could check out, maybe. Coming in at the number 4 spot now, we have the Got Talent series. Take any country name and put Got Talent after it. That show is everywhere. The TV talent show was created by Simon Cowell, and the first version, America's Got Talent, first aired in 2006. The British version came the year after, and since then it's been made in 58 countries all over the world. From Belgium's Got Talent, to Hungary's Got Talent, to Vietnam's Got Talent. The celebrity judges may change in every country, but one thing that stays the same is that everyone's got talent. Everyone. Next up at number 3 now, we have It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Now this is a hugely popular TV show from America, and you'd think from the name that it could only exist in Philadelphia, but you'd be wrong. Let me introduce you to It's Always Sunny in Moscow. Yeah, the Russian version of the show. The characters are all the same, except Russian, and some episodes are almost exact replicas of the original, but there are key differences. For example, the pub that the gang owns in the American version is called Paddy's Pub. In the Russian version, it's called Philadelphia, presumably a subtle nod to the original show that they ripped off. Moving on to number 2 now, we have The Big Bang Theory. This is a show that divides a lot of people, but whether or not you like it, you have to check out what it looks like in Belarus. Over there, it's called The Theorists, and it's pretty weird looking, if I'm honest. If you're wondering why it has the production quality of a school project, that's because it's not actually a licensed version of The Big Bang Theory. Even though the intro, characters, and many of the scenes are exact copies, this show was given no permission to be made by the original creators. The crazy part is they can't even sue them because the network that's making this ripoff is owned by the Belarusian government. 10 minutes of watching this show will make everyone love the original Big Bang Theory. And finally now, at the number 1 spot, we have Breaking Bad. In March 2013, a few months before the incredibly popular Breaking Bad aired its final 8 episodes, Sony Pictures Television announced that a Spanish version of the show would be made. It's called Metastasis and is set in Colombia. The plot is generally the same. Mr. White, or Senor Blanco, still explores the same dark world of meth making, but the actors are obviously different, the locations are different, and there's even small details such as their drug making vehicle being an old school bus and not an RV like in the original series. Definitely an interesting watch though. Well. There you go guys, I personally found that fascinating to look into, and now I'm wondering if somewhere out there there's a Russian version of Most Amazing Top 10 with a Russian version of me. That's something that will haunt my nightmares. My name is Danny Burke, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you all in the next video.